What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy CamATL, and welcome back to another NFL DFS video with your boy. Drop a like down below because I already know you're gonna love it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Comment anything in the comment section and enter your name into the $50 giveaway I do every single week on this channel. Last week's $50 giveaway winner was announced in my first video I did today, which was the Prize Picks video. So go check that out to see if you are the winner for that. Thank you guys for joining me as always. In this video, we're gonna break down tonight's showdown between Seattle and the Giants. All right, I have a good feeling on what I'm thinking this, how I'm believing this game is going to go, and how I'm going to attack this showdown. So let's get it, man. Week 4 was a huge one. Not only did we smash Week 4's main slate, but we also got the takedown on last night's Kansas City Jets showdown. We had Pacheco, went crazy. Um, we had Garrett Wilson, who got like 17 targets, had an amazing game. It was overall just a fantastic night and got the takedown on the showdown. So that was awesome. First takedown of the year. I mean, we've gotten close. You know what I mean? It still depends on what contest you're in, whether we got first place or not. But yeah, it was a great night, man. And once again, another banger week for NFL, man. We've been dominating NFL this season again. Remember last season we won like what was it, 14 out of the 17 main weeks, and so this year, I mean, we're already on track to do that once again. Hopefully, we could do even better. So I'm excited for what we have left to come. We have NBA starting in like 20 days, something like that. So man, I'm excited, man. Let's get into the picks for today, though. For this showdown game between Seattle and the Giants. So first things first, I like to imagine what I expect the script to go as. I do think Seattle is the better team here. That should come as no surprise. I do think Seattle is better than the Giants and should be in the lead for most of this game, is my take on that. Um, so, with that being said, I still want Daniel Jones at the captain spot. And you have to understand the reasoning behind this. Daniel Jones is somebody who not only is going to be playing from behind, so he's going to need to air the ball out, but he's at home in New York and he also can get a solid floor with his feet. That is the main thing, and that's why when you have slates where a Lamar Jackson's on the slate or a Justin Fields or these type of guys, Josh Allen, that you always want those guys in the captain spot because they not only have the safest floor to get you to that cash line, but they also have that big some huge upside if they break some big runs or get in that end zone many times. So not only do they have that potential of running in a red zone, a touchdown in the red zone, but they could also throw it in. Like they just have the most possibilities of getting fantasy points out of anyone on the field. A rushing quarterback, a rushing capable quarterback, because he can throw it, he can run it, do whatever. And you guys know, man, the floor is great. So Daniel Jones, while he hasn't had a fantastic season, he's struggling a bit. This is a good get right spot at home in New York here on Monday Night Football against Seattle. Seattle's secondary has struggled, so it's definitely an interesting spot. Plus, Seattle runs a ton of zone coverage, and there's a few of these Giants receivers that do a good job at finding those holes in the zone and able to get those little dump offs. So I don't think the Giants should struggle too much at being able to move the ball. I just think overall, I think the game stays close, exactly how Vegas expects it to be, but I think the Giants are going to be behind. I think Seattle should be ahead most of the game, and that's the way I'm building for this. So Daniel Jones, no matter how the script goes, though, is going to have heavy usage with that rushing ability, going to give you a solid floor. Love that spot for him. Now, on the other side of this game, with Daniel Jones at captain, I'm going to run it back with Kenneth Walker. Kenneth Walker III just makes a ton of sense to me. Kenneth Walker's a bell cow. He's going to get 18, 20 plus carries, and he's a guy who is going to be used heavily in a spot like this. Like, they're not big favors where it's automatically like you already know the run game's going to be huge in it. You know what I mean? Like Christian McCaffrey was in the slate yesterday, which I'm surprised he wasn't 100% owned. But Christian McCaffrey went crazy yesterday. Why? Because San Francisco was ahead by a good bit most of the game and just ran the rock a ton. You know what I mean? Like it was just going to be a running back focused type of matchup. Now, this spread is not that type of spread like San Francisco was. But Seattle is expected to be ahead, and Seattle has a tendency to really run the ball a lot to just grind out that clock. You know what I mean? They just tend to do that a lot. They're slowish pace and they just run, run, run. And Kenneth Walker is a guy who obviously his red zone opportunities are highest on the Seattle teams, like 35% red zone opportunities. Um, on average. So I really like Kenneth Walker to get in the end zone, possibly get in the end zone a few times. And with this game script that I'm expecting with Seattle winning this game and being ahead, I think they lean on the run and I think they just grind out a W in this one. So Daniel Jones on the Giants side, Kenneth Walker III on the Seattle side. And then next up, I want to pair somebody with Daniel Jones, and there's somebody that really sticks out to me, and that's Paris Campbell. Paris Campbell, throughout his career, back when he was playing for the Colts, and so far this year, has done a fantastic job against zone defense. Okay, and Seattle runs nothing but zone defense pretty much. Okay, they run a ton of zone. They have not been doing very good in zone. And Paris Campbell is a guy who's going to play out of that slot. By the way, Seattle also is like the league's worst versus slot receivers, something like that. So Paris Campbell is going to feast here. And at only 2.8, I really like him, and I hope he flies under the radar. I hope everybody goes with the Darius Slayton, or maybe doesn't get much Giants at all and goes Darren Waller or something like that, because Paris Campbell at 2.8 also has sneakily been the highest targeted guy in the red zone for the Giants. Like, this little guy has been the highest targeted guy in the red zone when the Giants get down there. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Daniel Jones or Paris Campbell connect for a touchdown. On top of that, I wouldn't be surprised to see Paris Campbell looked at too highly for those little short little routes where Paris Campbell finds that hole in that zone defense and just gets peppered. I would not be surprised to see a good amount of targets for Paris Campbell today. There's a few guys on the Giants that do well versus zone. Wendell Robinson is a good price, does well versus zone. And I'm talking Paris Campbell is a guy who not only this year has he been doing well versus zone, but last year too. Like, I'm looking at a broad spectrum of how this guy has done, and he did well for the Colts as well versus zone. So it's very interesting to me with the Giants playing from behind and probably having to throw a good bit. Paris Campbell's a good pairing with Daniel Jones. Gets you a cheap pairing as well, and allows you to still get the studs, the other studs like the DK Metcalf or Geno Smith on the Seattle side. I don't have as much love for Tyler Lockett today. I'm preferring DK Metcalf again. I talked about zone. I talked about coverage. It's something that I do like to look at because some guys are just much better versus one type of coverage they're facing than they are versus another, right? So DK Metcalf is facing a Giants squad that has run predominantly man coverage this year. They're predominantly manning up, and that is not a good idea versus DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf last season had over a 30% target rate, where Tyler Lockett only had a 17% target rate versus man. Tyler Lockett, as you would expect, a guy who just is very good at finding those openings in the defense, is great versus zone defense. But against man, he struggles a bit to get that separation. DK Metcalf is a big body receiver that I fully expect Geno Smith to lean on versus this man coverage. There's nobody on the Giants who can possibly stop DK. I expect a receiving touchdown out of him today. I don't think anyone on the Giants will be able to hold him. And in man coverage, like I said, he got targeted so heavily last season versus man coverage, and I think he takes advantage of this man coverage Giants defense as well and has a solid game. I think this is a good DK Metcalf spot today. So DK Metcalf, I really love. Like I said, if I'm choosing between the Seattle receivers, I'm going Metcalf. I'm probably not going as much Lockett. So if Lockett ends up just shining against man coverage like he hasn't done over the last couple years, then so be it. But yeah, I'm not going to have as much Lockett. Kenneth Walker is a big focal point for me when it comes to Seattle side. Matt Breida, I do like Matt Breida. He's going to get probably 3 to 5 targets in the pass game. And he's going to get those red zone touches. So I like Matt Breida some. Darren Waller, obviously, with this script and the Giants playing from behind, it's a good spot for Darren Waller always. Jackson Smith Njigba, don't care too much. I'm already kind of wanting Kenneth Walker or DK in the pass game. I'm not trying to get too deep into it. Let's see. Darius Slayton on the Giants side is fine, but I prefer Paris Campbell at only 2.8. You can go either kickers, perfectly fine. Hodgins, I like his player prop more than I like him in DFS. Wendell Robinson at 3K is another guy I really have interest in. With the Giants most likely playing from behind, Robinson has had some success versus the zone defense as well. Going against Seattle, he'll see a lot of zone. So, yeah, that's about it, man. We don't have any of those, like, in the hundreds guys that I'm really have interest in that I think could be sneaky. It's mainly kind of mid-range-ish options, but I have had no problem building lines without going a incredibly low punt today. I've really liked where I've landed. But the core that you guys, I feel like you guys should start with is Daniel Jones at captain because of his floor and his upside. Kenneth Walker on the Seattle side, I think we see a lot of Kenneth Walker while they methodically try to just grind out that clock like Seattle likes to do. And then Paris Campbell paired up with Daniel Jones. I think Campbell's sneaky as hell. Like I said, Paris Campbell is a small dude, but he's gotten majority of the red zone targets, while also throughout his career being fantastic versus the zone defense. He's just good at finding those little open spots in the zone, and I think that Daniel Jones is going to look to him a lot tonight. I think Paris Campbell's going to get a lot of targets. I really think he's going to get a solid amount of targets in this game. Just makes a ton of sense that he would. All right. And then DK Metcalf's my favorite Seattle receiver. I definitely would love some of him if I can afford him. Geno Smith, obviously, if you have the money to pair with Metcalf, is perfectly fine. I'm completely fine with going Geno Metcalf and still having Walker in those versions. Like I'm fine with you still having that because DK Metcalf and Kenneth Walker are going to be these red zone guys. Like once Seattle gets to the red zone, it's either going to be Walker getting it in or DK, in my opinion. So one of the two options. So I think it's perfectly fine. I think they correlate fine. I mean, most of the time, you don't, if you're really prioritizing the run game, you don't really want to. Like, if I had Kenneth Walker at captain, I probably wouldn't have Geno and Metcalf because then if I'm having Kenneth Walker at captain, I'm really wanting it run heavy. You know what I mean? Running it, but having it the way we have it is perfectly fine. So, yeah, get exposure to that. And that's about it, man. Hopefully, I was able to help y'all get on track for this showdown, man. Let's get another takedown 2 nights in a row. I'm excited for it. GreenlightDFS.com. If you didn't roll with us week 4, which is a shame because you missed a great ass week 4 main slate and you missed a takedown last night. But if you missed that, you don't have to miss it anymore. Grab week 5 now at GreenlightDFS.com and you'll get Monday included. All right, you will get today included. So not only did we smash college football, but we cashed in on main NFL, took down the showdown. It's been an absolutely fantastic year. Make sure you are joined up. And this optimizer, by the way, that I use in these videos is the Greenlight Optimizer. You can always come in here and look at my personal projections for guys, get ideas of different ways you want to attack slates, have it build for you, whatever you want to do. The optimizer's been smashing this year's too. Like every time we have a big night, like people are always, it seems like every single slate this year, people have spammed up how much they love the optimizer and how well the optimizer's done. So don't sleep on the optimizer as well. But the optimal lines will be posted about 30 minutes before game time. I've already been working on this slate for since the showdown from last night locked. I've been working on this one. I really have a good feel on this one too, so I'm excited, man. All right, thank y'all for joining me. I'm out. Peace.